So I speak at least 50 times a year at this center, either on a Sunday or a Saturday night in Palm Springs. And I don't take it for granted. And I take it very seriously. That when I get up to speak, that I have something to say. That the universe has something to say through me. There have been times in my ministry where things have happened in life where, there's always this question, do I get up and speak because of what's going on, or do I just keep going forward regardless of what's going on? And it's kind of a little bit of both of those things. Continue doing what I'm here to do regardless of what's going on. The first challenging thing was when I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I chose to keep speaking. I chose to just get up every Sunday and speak, mostly for my sake, so that I didn't let something defeat me. I just dealt with it the way I dealt with it and spoke, and it proved to be very helpful to a lot of people, and certainly to myself. And the second time was when our daughter passed away, and I chose to get up and speak that Sunday, and pretty much just kept going. And that was a major benefit too. And certainly today, when you were singing, that is the last song Nora ever sang here. So every time it's sung, it brings me to a place, that she sang "I Will Surrender" that Sunday morning. And then when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and it's so ironic to talk about my daughter passing and a law being overturned as those two things having an impact. But they do, because one thing may be impactful here and another thing may be impactful there, and it may not impact you, but it impacts someone else. So when Roe v. Wade was overturned that Sunday, I actually was speaking in Palm Desert, and it was a show. The whole day, people were on both sides of that equation, and it was just damned if I do, damned if I don't. I got on a tightrope and gave a lecture that day. I stood in line, and people came through it to either hug me or scream at me, literally. And I was like, wow, I thought I was I think I pretty stayed on that tightrope. I respected everybody's opinions, but no, didn't work out that way. But I was okay with that. I thought, you know what? You chose this job. You chose to be screamed at by people if they don't like what you're saying, so good for you. And then this week, last week when we talked, when I left here, we talked about the peace is possible. Peace of mind is possible. And then I witnessed a great many of people lose their mind on Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning. And I'm thinking, wow, we just sang peace is possible, but is peace only possible if an outcome to an election is ours? Is that it? I mean, you're only peaceful if you like what's happening. I was like, that's not really going to work for me. And then, we had our first grief session, our first good grief meeting on Wednesday, which was interestingly timed to do it on Wednesday night. And the feeling of the people that came, most people were grieving their country as they saw it. And then I was speaking about Nora, and Joe was speaking about his son. And I sat there going, I'm having this weird moment of, we've lost a child, but we're also majorly concerned about our country. Are these things equal? Are these things? And my mind, while it was pretty intensely involved in what was going on in that meeting, grief is grief. If you're grieving your country, you're grieving. If you're grieving a loss of a child, you're grieving. If you're grieving a marriage, you're grieving. If you're grieving a job, you're grieving. If you're grieving your youth, anybody? You might be grieving. Really, Kathleen? You're not grieving your youth. 90 looks great on you. No, I'm kidding. I know you're not 90. So I get it. I really get that concept. But then I started thinking. I was like, okay, I've lost a child, and I every day deal with this. I feel like at times, as many people have this week, our country's losing its footing. But there is, a very equal part of this country that does not feel that we're losing our footing, that feels that we're back on the right footing. So it's all perspective. And I am fully aware of that. And it is perspective. And I will also speak my mind when I need to. But is all of this who I am? No, it's not. And as Swan just said, I can give away my power when I'm not happy. I can give away my power when it seems like someone's taking it away, which is impossible. No one can take your mind. So getting, and today is the first day ever that I pulled a Sue Rubin, where I showed up later than ever. I remember Sue used to say to me, I get there just in time to go on stage. And I was like, and pretty much that's what I did today, because so many things happened and I forgot about this, I forgot about that. And I'm driving here going, wow, I've never gotten here so late. And yet, it was perfect timing, because I needed to sit with myself and really think about all of this. And I was up this morning putting this talk together, because I don't know if you know this, but I don't put my talks together until the morning of. Why are you laughing? Because it's true. I don't. Because I don't know what I'm going to want to say until it's time to say it. And none of this is even in my talk. So we're going to be here a long time. No. But I don't do it till the morning, because God knows what might happen the night before. I saw Fiddler on a Roof last night, which, by the way, was the very first professional show I ever did. I was in Fiddler on a Roof for a year. In an amateur production, but in a big professional theater for a whole year. I went from the Fiddler on the Roof, I first played him, then I went to the Russian guy who stood on the table going, ah, and sang that whole song. Then I became a bottle dancer. Then the director thought, you should play Mottel. Don't I look like a Jewish tailor? But I got the payas and the hat and everything, and I did Mottel. Wonder of wonder, miracle of miracles. Did that. I only ever wanted to play Perchik and never got to play that. Kevin has played that twice. All of that's very important. So my first slide, so I never know what's going to happen the day before, so that's why I wait. But this morning, I sat there staring at my screen, and then I remembered a quote that I knew I wanted to use today, and it's this one. The ultimate measure of a man, a woman, is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King Jr. So the ultimate measure of us, who we are, how we measure up, is ultimately, remember who you are. It's equanimity. Are you able to remember who you are no matter what's going on? No matter what challenge or controversy is coming through, are we going to give in to it? Are we going to let ourselves be destroyed by it or even be torn down by it in any way, shape, or form? Or do we do what we are here to do, which is deal with our feelings? Okay, you're unhappy. You're worried. You have fear around whatever's going on in our country. Okay, great. There's half the country's feeling fear. The other country's feeling a different thing. Everybody should deal with their feelings, period. But does it change who we are innately as people? Watching my husband, who most of you know, has a very passionate temperament. This was not an easy week for him. I mean, really not an easy week for him or for us, given his passionate temperament. To see him get up here and sing, we can be kind. That's what we all need to be doing. We need to challenge ourselves in the face of whatever we're feeling to get to the point, the really important point, no matter what challenge or controversy is going on. So my talk title today is this: what are you hearing? What are you hearing? You've heard a lot this week, haven't you? Everybody has heard an awful lot this week. Everybody has worked very hard to make sense out of this. I don't know about you, but I've kind of stopped trying to make sense out of this. I've kind of stopped. I'm just not interested in what they're all talking about anymore. I'm just like, I need to stop. I need to just stop what I'm hearing. I'm not interested in what I'm hearing out here. I'm more interested in what I'm hearing in here. And the bigger question is not even what am I hearing, but what's resonated. Because that's the thing. You may hear a lot of stuff. Seriously, you might. And you will hear a lot of stuff. But it's not important what you hear. What am I hearing? But what are you resonating with? Because frankly, what you resonate with is what you create more of. Right? Andrea? So Dr. Andrea. So yeah, if what you resonate with, what you decide to resonate with is designing your life. So if we're giving ourselves permission to listen and hear everything that everybody's saying, what do you think you are creating in your future, in the life that you are living? What do you think's coming up? What do you think you're going to bring up? But a lot of confusion and distortion and fear and disagreement. What resonates with us is what we create more of. I want to give you another slide, another quote of Dr. Martin Luther King's, who said, "Hatred paralyzes life. Love releases it. Hatred confuses life. Love harmonizes it. Hatred darkens life. Love illuminates it." So I bring you back to why you are all here. I'm assuming this resonates with you, or you wouldn't keep coming back. I assume love only means something to you, or you wouldn't want to be living your life by it. And I assume forgive everything means something, and maybe it means your feeling is that that's the hard one, right? And it can be. That can be the hard one, but it doesn't have to be. The minute you stop saying it's the hard one and say, I'm ready to do that, then it changes. That's how this works. So what are you resonating with? That really becomes the most important thing. So our theme this month, equanimity. So, a calm peace at the center of the storm. Now I want you to, So this picture, you see where it says love owns the future? See that? You might have missed that when you looked at this. I just got that picture this morning. It's at the bottom of the frame. See at the bottom? Love, you guys probably can't see it. It's right here. Love owns the future. For those of you that can look that way, you can see it better. Yes, love owns the future. So there's a very dear friend of ours. He's a Broadway producer, Broadway production stage manager named Richard Hester, who does an amazing blog, has a great book out that's just amazing. And this came in my feed this morning as I was leaving. I had to go back in and change my slideshow to put it in there. He's been so distraught over what's gone on this week. And he bought a house in Italy, so he's like, I'm going to Italy for a while. But he's been so distraught. His blog today, he said, I can't speak. And he just did these pictures. That is a live picture yesterday from the subway in New York City. Someone put love owns the future. So there's consciousness in the world that is resonating on a very different level and reacting on a very different level. So equanimity, a calm place in the center of the storm. So I'm rereading a book by David Kessler called Finding Meaning, The Sixth Stage of Grief. It's an amazing book. He worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross on grief, and now Elizabeth's gone, and he's pretty much the spokesperson for how we manage grief. And he came to us instantly when Nora passed and helped me so profoundly, and gave me his new book. And it's not that new anymore because it's 5 years old. But here's one of his quotes. Maturity is when you accept the fact that two contradictory ideas can exist together. So I'm going to ask you today, how mature are you? I mean, think about it. Can we accept the facts of life right now and still be fully, vibrantly, whole, creative, and know success as our birthright? No matter what? Yes, we can. That's maturity. You're saying no. That's maturity. That's a spiritual maturity. That's an emotional maturity where we get to hold two thoughts. I'm not happy, and I also know who I am. That's possible. Very possible. And then he also said this. He said, your loss is not a test, a lesson, something to handle, a gift or a blessing. Loss is simply what happens to you in life. Meaning is what you make it happen. That's an amazing quote. Your loss is not a test, a lesson, something to handle, a gift or a blessing. We use those words, don't we? You know, this is a gift to me, this loss. This is for my education. It's none of that, and it's all of that if you choose it to be. But ultimately, there's not a person in this room that has not experienced a loss of some form or another. And I think there's also people who feel that their loss is bigger than your loss, and maybe you feel that your loss is more important than someone else's loss, or bigger, more catastrophic. I get it. When Nora passed away, I thought no one has ever felt this kind of grief. No one. But they have. Of course they have. So this idea that, I love what he says in the middle, loss is simply what happens to you in life. But loss, what's the other side of loss? Is gain, is win. I lose, I win. I lose some things, I win some things. That's the game of life. That's what we do. You're a Democrat, you're a Republican, you're an independent. You vote for this person, he wins. You vote for this person, he loses. You vote for this person, she wins. Someday, you vote for this person, she loses. You know, it doesn't matter. In the end, and then we have to get to, do we believe or not that life is unfolding perfectly, no matter what? Right? You have to. Now, you may not believe that. And I know people, trust me, all week, people have been challenging me on this. You know, one person yesterday, I was saying, well, you know what I teach. Life unfolds perfectly no matter what. He said, call me in 2 years. I said, and the person he was with said, call me in like 5 months. I was like, wow, I feel your pain, but I will not empathetically take it. I will just know where you are and respect that. But how are we at actually being willing? I'll go to the last question here. Being willing to put meaning behind things that actually work for us. And not put meaning behind things that are not working for us. I have heard so much this week. I have heard the sky is falling, the world is over. I mean, so much stuff. And it's like, you know, here's the thing. If you think the sky is falling, duck. Because your sky is falling. If you think the world's coming to an end, go lay down. Because your world is coming to an end. Because it's the meaning you put behind it all. Meaning is what you make happen. So I have a question for you. What meaning are you going to make happen in your life, and how are you going to do it? What meaning are you going to make happen in your life? What are you going to put your meaning into? What are you going to decide about life, about your life, Marilyn? I know what you're deciding. You're going off on these major, amazing trips, and you're amazing. You, by the way, yesterday, reading up here, reading your book, I don't know how many of you saw that, was just fabulous. Truly. Watching what you, and that's the first time you've done that, so you were like, wow, okay, jumping into it. Will, is Jill Mizell here today? No, she's not here today. But she got up and sang. She hasn't sang for, I don't know how many years she said, 30 years or something, 40 years was it? Yeah, she said, I haven't sang for 40 years. I said, so? Just sing. And she's in practitioner class too, and I hit her with that. She said, I'll need time to prepare. And I said, no, you don't. Spontaneity was last month. This is equanimity. You're at peace with all your decisions. So just get up and sing it. Your only answer is yes. So good for tomorrow? I talked to her on Friday. Good for Thursday. I said, good? She goes, well, is Robbie going to be playing? I said, he is. Send him some music. And she got up here and sang. And then really wanted to kill me. No, she said, oh my God, now I can't wait to sing again. We put meaning behind so much that literally stops us in our tracks. So I'm here today asking us, what are you hearing? What are you hearing? Oops, back. What are you hearing? And what are you putting meaning behind? That's the important part. You have the power in your mind to decide what you are hearing, to decide what you are hearing means to you. You can't go through life with your head in the ground. We are not an ostrich spiritual center. You must be willing to listen, to see what's going on around you. But what are you hearing? What meaning do you put behind it? Are you like a feather in the wind and you flow with whatever the next person tells you? That's got to stop, don't you think? So that's our job. So what I want you to do, take a deep breath right now. I'm going to give you a little something here. So close your eyes. Just ask yourself, what does my life mean to me? What does my life mean to me? See what wants to come up. Okay, open your eyes. Are you living the life you want to be living? Are you doing exactly what you want to be doing? Are you where you want to be, with who you want to be, doing what you want to do? Only you can decide the answer to those questions. Only you can decide what your life means to you. And only you can decide if the meaning you're giving your life is supporting you, is building you up. We have this whole month of equanimity, of getting at the center of who we are. It's not just enough. It's not enough, as Kevin sings in the song. It's not enough to talk about it. It's not enough to just sing a song. It's not enough for me to get up here every Sunday and teach and speak this philosophy if I am not going to go out and live it out loud, no matter what. And even though I am the spiritual director of this center, and I get it, I should be doing that. I picked the job. You all need to be doing that with me. You all need to be leading the way so that everyone around you sees you live your life from love only, sees you easily and effortlessly forgive everything, and most importantly, that everyone in your life knows who you are because you know who you are. And when you know who you are, everyone around you benefits from the ripple of love that comes from you. Can we be kind? We must be kind because that's who we are. Namaste.